Hey guys, welcome to the Knot of the Week. Today we are going to be tying a figure eight on a bight. All right, so the first step in a figure eight on the bight is to make a bight in the rope. And again, that's just a bend like this in the rope. And what we're going to do is tie that on here so that the end result is creating a loop like this, or a fixed loop. So a figure eight, if you remember, crosses on top, goes behind, and then back through that opening, just like so. And that is a figure eight on a bight. So I'll do that one more time. Got our bight. We're going to pull about midway there and cross over, behind, and then back through. So the great thing about a figure eight on a bight, again, is you're creating a fixed loop, so it's good for attaching to something. So taking a rope that might have an independent line and turning it into something that's now got a loop. So you can also take the leftover and do something like this to where you're actually tying it off and kind of securing it, just like so. And I wanted to kind of talk about the differences because it can be a little confusing, like what's figure eight versus figure eight on a bight versus threaded figure eight. So those are all three knots that we have talked about on the Knot of the Week now. So a figure eight is just in a regular line like so. So you can tie this, at a midpoint in the line, so something like this. It's a pretty strong knot, and that's just a standard figure eight. Again, we just showed a figure eight on a bight, just like so. And the last version is a threaded figure eight. So a threaded figure eight will come out looking just like this, but if I wanted to make sure that I attach something onto this loop that I'm creating, I would use a threaded figure eight. So going back to our original figure eight, I would first tie, give myself a little more slack here, I would first tie a regular figure eight. Once I have the regular figure eight tied, I now take this line, my working end, and come through that fixed point that I want to attach to, and all I'm going to do now is trace it back through this figure eight. So I go like this, like that, like this, and see I'm just following the wraps that the figure eight already has, and then back through this way. So now when I tighten it, you can see that looks just like a figure eight on a bight, but now I'm actually on something. So it's great for climbing, to tie onto a harness. If you're doing something like top roping, you can actually tie directly onto the harness. So it makes it easy when somebody comes off belay to simply undo the threaded portion of a figure eight like this, undo it from their harness, and now you're ready to tie onto the next person's harness. All right, so that is our figure eight on a bight addition to our DIY knot board display. So I'm not sure exactly where I'm going to position that yet. Might kind of go up here, might bump this little ladder over. So something like that. Now we've already tied our figure eight, standard figure eight here, and I thought we had tied a threaded figure eight, but we really haven't. However, I'm going to just leave this as the threaded and figure eight on a bight. So I'll probably just call it a figure eight on a bight and call it good. However, we talked about the threaded figure eight in this video, and now you know kind of the gist of how to tie one of those. So still continuing to add knots to the board, still kind of figuring out the trim on it. I did see another knot board with a non-janky ship's wheel, so I'm still going to try to find maybe a different ship's wheel. This thing doesn't look as janky with knots tied on it, but however, we're filling it up, so join us next time on our DIY knot board display. So hopefully that gives you an idea of the different types of figure eights that you can try, and this, again, was the figure eight on a bight. Thanks for watching.